Hello and welcome back. My name is Alicia and this is the Vegan Remix. Welcome if you are new. Today I'm going to be showing you or talking to you about how to make or the difference between using all-purpose flour and strong flour or high-grade flour when it comes to making breads. So we're going to make something super duper simple today. We're going to be making just traditional dinner rolls, but I'm going to be making them once with the high-grade flour and once with plain flour. First we'll get into a little bit about the differences after this needy cat gets her cuddles. So when it comes to choosing a flour for bread making, you want to be using a flour with as much protein in it as possible, which tends to be high-grade baker's flour, type 00 flour, all of these things. Anything with a protein percentage between, I believe it's 11 to 14% is considered high grade. This one here is, I think, 11% versus the plain standard flour that you use for cakes and cupcakes is probably somewhere between 7 to 10%. Why is protein important when making bread? Because when you make bread and bread has a lot of moisture in it, the little moisture bubbles create little pockets of air, and then when the moisture evaporates, the pocket stays. However, the protein is what makes the air pocket hold its shape. So with less protein, more of the air bubbles collapse and you get less air bubbles. With a higher protein flour, the air bubbles stay up and you have a more airy, light dough. Today I'm going to be making two different types and you're going to actually get to see how the difference kind of works. I haven't picked the best bread to demonstrate large air pockets, but I've hopefully picked a good enough bread that we're going to see the difference. To this bowl, I'm going to I'll start by adding 2 cups of plain flour, all-purpose flour, half a tablespoon of instant yeast, half a teaspoon of salt, 3/4 cups of water, and a tablespoon of a light tasting oil. Mix with a dough hook for 2 minutes just to get the ingredients together. After 4 minutes at high speed, you're going to take your dough out and just check. So mine is really not sticky, so I can ball it into a ball. The gluten is not developed as much as I would probably like, but it's not too bad. But the recipe just said 2 to 4 minutes, so I'm going to stick with what the recipe is telling me. For those that want the recipe, it will be linked down in the description below. This is our all-purpose flour, and we're going to put that in a lightly oiled bowl, cover it, and let it rest for 1 to 2 hours. And I'm going to do the exact same thing with the high-grade flour. Once your dough doubles in size, remove the cloud wrap and gently press out the air. And on a lightly floured surface, place your dough and divide into portions. Approximately it'll be about 75 grams, or if you're doing the full dough recipe, it'll be 12 even portions. So I'm going for 6. Now you're going to roll them into a ball. The best way to do it is what's called balling. So you just roll the dough like so, and then using your thumb and your pinky finger, you tuck the dough underneath, looking a little something like that. Or the easier way to do it is to take a piece of dough and pull in all of the corners, pinch them in like so. So you have a little parcel on this side and a nice smooth edge on that side. And then doing the same thing, you just kind of twist it and make it so that it comes all the way around. And then you just kind of roll that bottom bit so it's nice and flat. Then lightly oil a baking dish, shallow baking dish. A dish about this size should fit about 12 rolls. Place your rolls in. Once you've got all your rolls in there, you're going to cover it for 45 minutes to an hour. I'm going to repeat this with the high grade flour. I just thought I'd try and show you this, but the difference between the two breads already, all those air bubbles and that spider webbing. Into the oven they go. Plain flour. high grade flour. These ones are slightly lighter for some reason. I'm going to put the high grade underneath and then we're going to switch them over. You need to bake them for about 15 minutes. High grade flour, not high grade flour. You can already see some differences, which is insane to me, but they're not done just yet. So straight out of the oven, you want to get some butter and a brush and just brush them gently with a little bit of butter. Some of the differences I've noticed so far, the higher grade flour ones are whiter in consistency. They also just appear smoother on the top. Not to mention that the colouring is slightly more golden as opposed to darker, but that could be due to the plain flour being on the top of the oven longer. Also, while doing the dough, I noticed that the gluten seemed to develop a lot faster in the high grade flour dough than it did in the standard grade flour dough. So to get an even result, if I even possibly could, I'd probably have to knead the all-purpose flour longer than the other. They've been cooling for about half an hour now, so let's compare the difference. We'll start simply with softness and pushback. So just from the outside, the plain flour is way firmer than the high grade flour. If we take them off, nice soft bread with decently big air bubbles all the way through. Nice soft crumb, still slightly warm. Then with the other ones, slightly larger air bubbles through there compared to this one, which is due to the extra protein in the flour. So moving on to the other differences, in terms of taste, they taste the same recipe. But in terms of texture, this one here is way softer. It just has a nice smooth feel in your mouth. Whereas this one here is like, it's still good and still a soft bread, but it's more of like a harsh texture in your mouth. It's really hard to explain. But this one is like super soft. They're both really good though. If you're in a pinch and you just want a bread roll, doesn't matter, you're going for bulk and plain flour is cheaper, 110% you can get away with plain flour. If you want nice dinner rolls, or if you don't mind finding it or it's the same price, I'd say go for the high grade flour. It does make a difference. The other option is to look into finding some vital wheat gluten and adding that to add some extra protein to the flour you already have. But that is all I have for you today. So I hope you've enjoyed. I hope you learned something. Please remember to subscribe and hit that bell notification icon if you want to learn more about vegan baking, or if you have recipes that you can comment down below and I will bake them for you. Any suggestions and ideas are always welcome. And hopefully I'll see you all in the next video. Till then.
All I need are some better days. Yeah, all I need are some better days. Cause all I want, and I pray, I believe in the better days.